Welcome into the show. It is a Sportswrap Overtime Special. I'm Craig Loper, joined by Jeff Snyder and Brian Parsons. We do these twice a month, and we try to get some really cool guests on for viewers in the 757 and beyond to hear some great stories and talk about some good times. And we have a featured special guest today that knows all about William & Mary football, and he's I don't know what you call him, the maestro of it all.
I'd call him a Virginia Sports Hall of Famer. I would call him a legend of Hamilton, Virginia.
There you go.
If you will. Loudoun County High School legend.
Taking it back. Jimmye Laycock, the longtime head coach of the William & Mary football program, joining us now. 39 years up there in Williamsburg, leading the tribe. Coach, thanks for taking the time, man, and joining us on Zoom. I know you said it had been a few years since you fired up Zoom.
Yeah, it has been. I haven't done. I did a number of it, right after I retired. But I guess longer you're gone, the less they miss you, the less they want to hear from you.
We saw you at the Virginia.
So the bottom line is I got plenty of time now. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Well, we appreciate you, man. We didn't want you to drive all the way down here to Wavy, but last time we saw, at least Brian and I together saw you was at the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame a couple years ago, or maybe last year.
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
That was a heck of you and Ryan Zimmerman and
Zimmerman in there, D'Angelo
Wow.
Hall. I mean, take us back to that night a little bit. That class was awesome.
Well, that was special. I really thought the Virginia Hall of Fame, Sports Hall of Fame, did a great job. In the organization of it, and the communication of it, and the show that they put on. And obviously, I was very humbled and very appreciative of the recognition and being there. And fortunately, I had a lot of my family was there and some very good friends, and it was a really cool night.
Yeah. So deserving.
A lot of people are saying it was the speech of the night. You had everybody in stitches up there, so that was good. Did you? How did
you were quick too. He's pretty quick.
Did you write us?
That's the one thing I have learned over a period of time. I've been to a few Hall of Fame events over the years, and the ones that you remember are not for good reasons. Usually because I got a friend of mine in coaching who always comes to them, and he always times them all. And I said, well, he's not going to get me on the clock this year.
Yeah.
Did you write it all out yourself? Was that all you?
It's all me. Yeah, it's all me. Yeah.
Very good.
I wouldn't depend on anybody else for that.
Yeah. Well, Coach, we just want to get into all the good stuff, man. Born in Hamilton, Virginia, baseball, basketball, football. Obviously, you make your way to William & Mary in 1966, and
what was it like back then?
What was it like getting to William & Mary back then, man? Like, how did you talk to us about the recruiting and getting there and playing quarterback and how it all worked?
And where was William & Mary in the hierarchy? Were they considered basically? Would you call them FBS back then? Would that
No,
be?
it wasn't FBS. It was all Division I, all regular.
Okay.
I went to Loudoun Valley High School up in Purcellville. In fact, I went there when the school opened, and the school is still going strong. And I was really involved in sports. Obviously, played all the way through there. And it wasn't until my senior year that I wasn't sure I was pretty sure I was going to go to college, but I wasn't sure what sport I would play. And then after football season, I started getting a lot of interest and things like that. So I said, well, I guess I'll go football. And my choice came down between William & Mary and Virginia Tech, to be honest. And it was a close call, and I just felt very comfortable and felt very good in the environment at William & Mary. Marv Levy was the head coach at the time, and it just seemed like it was a good fit for me, and I had no regrets. It turned out I had a decent career playing, but I really enjoyed my time at William & Mary, enjoyed the friends that I made there, and those friends have lasted me all my life.
But what were some of the rivals back then? Who were some of the main opponents that William & Mary was playing back in 68,
Well, it was still
69?
Richmond, obviously, but we'd played Virginia Tech, we'd play we played West Virginia, we played East Carolina. Who else? I don't know.
Like Rutgers seemed to be on the schedule a lot back then.
Yeah, we played them. Played Pitt, played Syracuse. I mean, we played, you kind of look back on it and say, "Whoa, what was we doing?" but that's what it was. And then my senior year, going into my senior year, is when Marv left and took a job in pro football, and they hired Lou Holtz, and that was his first head coaching job. He came to William & Mary from Ohio State, and he tried to. I still kid him to this day. I mean, he was trying to run the Ohio State offense with the William and Mary personnel, and that was a little tough, but it was a tremendous experience to be involved with him and learning from him. And to this day, he will still introduce me as his first quarterback, and that's pretty cool.
Oh,
That's
wow.
awesome. I love
So
that.
what was, I guess Marv, had he gone to the Chiefs after that?
No, I think I think it was the Eagles. He went somewhere as a special teams coach. I think it might have been in Philadelphia, but he eventually went to the Chiefs. I know. It may have been that. I don't remember.
So that you said that you get into coaching. So I guess the NFL wasn't calling, and such is the case. And you start off at the old Newport News High School, where my parents actually went to high school.
Wow.
That doesn't exist anymore.
Doesn't exist, yeah.
The Newport News Typhoons, as they were called. Lefty Drizel was actually a coach there as well. And well, so that gets the coaching career started. How did that go about? What was your major? Were you going to get in the business world, or was it?
No, I was going to go in I majored in PE, and my whole dream was I was going to teach PE and coach in the high school level, and that was it. That was as far as I was looking to do. I graduated from William Mary. I was going to do that. I interviewed at a lot of different places, and I don't know. That seemed like a good fit. And Jim Cavanaugh, who was the receiver for me at William Mary, and we were very good friends. And he and I both took a job down there at Newport News High School, and the school had great tradition, but this was going to be the last year of the school, and they still are talking about our game that year against Hampton, where we were, I think, 35-point underdogs, and we beat them 16-7 in a big crowd there at Newport News in the old Saunders Stadium, I think it's what it's called, and it was a lot of fun at Newport News. Charlie Woolham, was our basketball coach at the time down there. But after about a half a year down there, I said, I enjoyed the coaching, but I said, I'm not so sure this teaching's, I'm cut out for this, because it was kind of wild in the school. Things were happening. So I was fortunate enough to make a contact or two, and I was able to get down to Clemson as a graduate assistant after my first year at Newport News.
Wow. Yeah, what a jump, too. I mean, it's funny, the coaching carousel has always been spinning, and it's been spinning faster than ever. We'll get into all that later. It's still spinning all these years. It's like, I always find it funny with coaches, the connections you make, like to make these jumps, right? So you leave and you go to Clemson, then all of a sudden you take a few stops, and then you're back at William and Mary. Talk to me about that time prior to coming back to William and Mary. It looks like Clemson, Citadel, Memphis, Clemson again.
I believe Citadel was probably your most important stop, right? With the people and relationships that you made at that stop.
But yeah, I mean, you look back on it and you say, but yeah, Bobby Ross got the job. I'd been at Clemson 2 years at GA, and I didn't know what I was going to do. I was trying to get a job, and then Bobby was got the job at the Citadel, and fortunately he hired me down there, and that was good. And I was down there, and he hired Frank Beamer and Ralph Friedgen and Cal McComb, Phil Gennaro. Charlie Rizzo. Anyway, these guys were all good guys, and we had a great staff. I mean, that's what I kid people. I said, we had a great staff, but we only won 3 ball games. I said, that's actually what's important. The players, But that was a good move for me. And then, I had some people contacting me about going out to Memphis, and I didn't know anything about out there at all. But I went out to it. Richard Williamson, who was a great guy as a head coach, and I was out there for a couple of years, and we were pretty good. We did okay. And then out of the blue, Clemson hired Charlie Pell, and some people recommended me to him. And next thing I know, he offered me a job to come back there as an offensive quarterback coach and offensive coordinator. And I was 27, 28 years old.
Wow.
I said, well, okay, well, I give it a shot. I mean, it might not have been. I mean, Clemson was really down, had been down for quite some time. Mm-hmm. And I said, well, I'd been there as a GA, so I had an idea of what it could be like if you were successful there, but you still had to get the job done. So, but anyway, so I went there, took the job with Pell, and lo and behold, we hit it big and went to the bowl game for the first time they'd been in 18 years. And
wow.
The place went crazy. And then the next year we even have a better team, and we were one of the top teams in the country. And led all this stuff in offense and this, that, and the other. So anyway, I had 3 great years there at Clemson. A lot of really, really good people, a lot of good friends, and we, I guess, one team at 78 team, we probably had 10, 12 players that went on, started in the NFL off that team. We were good. They were really good.
Talent was deep. I think Clemson went on to win their first national championship with the early 90s. Later
81, I think.
81. Yeah, that's what I was. Okay, it was.
2 years after I left.
I was going to say, I knew you might have been right there. I couldn't remember. 81.
Yeah, they did right up there.
Okay. That's crazy. Well,
so how did you get about to get the job at your alma mater? What a special occasion that must have been. Who was the AD? How did you get hired? And how did that all go down?
Ben Carnevale was the AD at the time. And as a guy named Ed Derrance, who was associate or assistant AD, who I knew well from when I was an undergraduate. I contacted him and he said, yeah, go ahead and apply. It's wide open. So one thing led to another, and I applied, and they had a committee and whatever. And then they narrowed it down, and I think they brought several of us in for interviews, and then I was the third choice for the job, and they didn't have any more money to bring anybody else in for a visit, so I got the job. Make a long story short.
I want to ask a dumb question here, Coach. But when you said you applied back then, did they like mail you the paperwork? Then you mailed it back. Like, what was the application?
I don't remember what.
Okay.
I just probably wrote a letter or something.
Okay. There you go. Just mail the old letter.
I don't know how that. Who knows how?
Yeah.
Third choice. You know what I say? I say about my job. I've been here for a long time, and I say you lose one card game and you're in for life, man. That's how it works. You know.
Yep. Yeah. Coach, do you remember that feeling like when you got the call saying we want you to be the head coach at William and Mary? Like, what was it like? All your stops, and then all of a sudden you're back at your own.
It was exciting. It had kind of been delayed a little bit. I was kept waiting for him. I was at Clemson, and we were getting ready for the Peach Bowl. We were in practice and doing things, and finally I got the call, and I flew up we were in Charleston practicing. I flew to Charlotte, and the plane got delayed or whatever, and had to spend the night in Charlotte and fly in the next day, and then they had the press conference and yada yada, whatever. Mm-hmm. But it was exciting. It's like I tell a lot of guys. I said there's no way to prepare to be a head coach. I said until you sit in that chair and you have to make those decisions. That's when you start learning what it's all about. And so that's what I did, and I was able to hire, a couple good guys from the SID on my staff. One of them was Ralph Friedgen, who obviously went on to be head coach at Maryland, and Charlie Rizzo, who was a very, very good coach. And then the other guys, Phil Gennaro was there. I kept him. He'd been on the previous staff. And then, I was there. So we're there. I've taken the job. I got the coaches, and we're doing some semblance of an all-season program. We didn't have any place. We didn't have a locker room. That was torn up. We didn't have an equipment room. That was the back of a classroom. Mm-hmm. So I went to the AD, Ben Carnevale, and I said, "What?" And they were tearing up the field at that time, Cary Field. They were tearing it up and trying to reduce the grass. And I said, "What are we going to do about spring practice?" And he said, "Well, I don't know. We got a little intramural field over here you could do calisthenics on." I said, "Well, that's not exactly what I had in mind." So anyway, we ended up doing spring practice out at Eastern State Hospital. It's on the ground now where Plumeri Park, the baseball field, is now.
Okay.
And that was just wide open fields. So we would bus our players out there in these old green buses that they use for campus transportation. And one of the coaches had to have the hand pushed liner in his car that he'd have to line the field every day, and that's the way we got off to start right there. And we had a spring game. We had 40, I think it was 42 or 44 players for spring practice. That's all in spring game. Mm-hmm. We had one quarterback, and we did it over on the intramural field. So we had 90 plays of spring game with one quarterback. Wow. So that was the beginning. And one of the guys who was on my first staff He's still, well, two, and Kevin Rogers, who came back and coached with me, coached in the pros for a long time. And then Danny Smith, who was, been a long time special teams coach in the NFL. He'd been with, he was with Mike up at Pittsburgh for a long time. They were on my first staff, and they still tell stories about those days when we had to make do. I told them one time, and I'm sorry if I'm getting carried away and going on this stuff.
No, you're good. Oh, no, this is great.
If you want to talk about anything else, but so one day we practiced, and I said, well, I want to set up some cones for some drills. And they said, Coach, we don't have any cones. And I said, what do you mean we don't have cones to run drills? No, Coach, we don't have any cones. And I said, listen, by tomorrow's practice, we better find some cones and have some cones out here so we get this thing done. Well, sure enough, the next day we had cones on the field. Mm-hmm. But out on Richmond Road, they had a lot of traffic problems because there was no direction.
Oh, that's great.
And accidents and stuff out there. They had found the cones out there to help
traffic cones.
Traffic and stuff. Yeah.
Coach, so you mentioned the Peach Bowl. Okay, so
back then, yeah.
So you mentioned William and Mary was Division I. This was before the 1A, 1AA split. I guess that happened in the early 80s. Is that how that went down?
Yeah. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So you guys were. So is there a world where William and Mary could have been a Duke or a Wake Forest or something like that? Was that a decision that the presidents and the board had to make about the future of the athletics for William and Mary back then?
Yes, yes, it could have been. It very well could have been. But in my first couple of years there, that wasn't the decision. The decision was more or less whether to keep football. Mm. It was tenuous, to say the least. Things were, there was a pretty strong thing saying, we're not winning, we're losing money, we don't have the money for this. And so there was, they were not entertaining any idea about enhancing football. All we were trying to do was to keep things afloat. And then finally we did.
Yeah. What Coach, so you're starting to build this program up. Let's get some video of you here just from back in the day. You're starting to build this program up. Like, how are you recruiting kids? What's it like going out there with the brand and trying to get kids, to your program? Like, was it a struggle at first? And maybe at what point did it start to turn? Did you feel like you were starting to have some success?
Well, I think recruiting was always a struggle,
okay.
To be honest with you, for different reasons. But yeah, probably the biggest struggle initially, because we didn't have any money to recruit. We had no money. I mean, we're staying at people's houses and, doing the old stuff. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I think it was 10 years before I actually turned in an expense account. I was paying for it all out of my pocket.
Wow, I bet.
Probably. I mean, it's just the way it was. But the thing, I guess, the overriding factor in recruiting over the years at William & Mary has always been the academic requirements, mm-hmm. and that it never lessened. That was always, but I learned, and I had to convince the players or get our coaches to understand that, it helped us to not waste our time in recruiting. It gave us, we knew what pool we were going after. Mm-hmm. We knew pretty well whether a guy was going to be interested or whether he's not going to be interested, whether he qualified or whether he didn't qualify. So then once we found ones that were really interested in a strong academic school that would qualify, and then, got them on campus, we had a legitimate shot to get them. Mm. But then also, obviously later on in the, with the recruiting aspect of it was the thing that we did so far as recruiting walk-ons too, in order to get guys in our program and have them earn scholarships. And that's a whole nother aspect of the program that I think led to our success.
Love that.
Multiple dozens and dozens of players that have made the NFL. I think at least 40 that have signed NFL deals throughout the years. 249 wins, 194 defeats, 2 ties, 24 winning seasons, 7 and 10 in the NCAA playoffs, 5 conference titles, a Yankee conference, 2 A-10s, 2 CAAs. Man, I look back at the 90s, man, that Yankee conference, we had UConn and UMass and JMU and Villanova and all these teams, and that was some quality football, man. Those were some good times.
There were some good times. There were some good players, and there were some good games, man. they were competitive as anything. It was challenging, but it was pretty neat. And looking back, but now it's so good to reminisce those times with those players who were there. Now, obviously now they're in 40s, 50s, whatever. But they come back and they take so much pride in what they were able to accomplish.
Coach, let me ask you this, kind of feeding off what Brian just asked. Who's the most talented player you ever saw for an opponent? Maybe I guess we'll start there and then we can go to the way. Who's the most talented player you saw on the field that you had to maybe prepare for? Do you remember?
Ooh.
Is there anyone? Because you said 90s. When you mentioned Villanova, I'm thinking like Brian Westbrook back in the day.
I was going to say Westbrook. Westbrook's right up there.
That's what I mean. When Brian said Villanova and the Yankee conference, I went straight to Westbrook in my brain.
Well, I went. Yeah, we had that one in that one game with Villanova here. We ended up playing them after over Thanksgiving because 9/11 occurred back when we were supposed to play them, and it got postponed, and we had to play them, and I think it was 49-44 game, something like that, and we won it. But Westbrook was a pretty strong player.
He's probably up there.
I tell you what, who was a wide receiver for Hampton at one time? What was his?
Jerome Mathis.
Mathis.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody scared me any more than that.
Wow. Yeah, that was a playoff game, and I think he brought a kickoff back for a touchdown. I think it was his fifth of the year, and he's holding up a 5 sign as he's running down the sideline.
His fifth return.
Yeah, he played in the NFL. Yeah,
that's awesome. See, I love that. I love to hear just who the main guy was.
Coach, why are the Dakotas and the Montanas so dominant at the FCS level these days? They win it every year.
Yeah, they do, and they've got really good teams. I've seen them play, and they're really good. I don't know. I don't know whether there's that players are out there, and there's not as much competition for those players. There's not as many FBS schools out there that they get involved with, or what. I don't know. And they must have coaches. Must do a heck of a job. They got great tradition, but now they've done a really good job. They've really taken over FCS football. No question there.
In 2004 was a season that really kind of changed the trajectory of everything at William & Mary for football. You make the Final Four. You have a playoff run. You have a Peyton Award-winning quarterback in Lane Campbell, and the historic game. Now I tell Craig this all the time about that. William & Mary did not have lights.
Yeah, I know. Right, I love this story.
He tries to he can't wrap his head around the fact. And I was like, yeah, well, I guess they had to play 1:00 games in the fall every week, right?
Yeah. What was the latest? What, you kick off at 3 maybe at the latest? Not even.
No, we didn't go that late.
Okay,
no.
Wow, 1:00.
And there it is. What do you remember about this night? You came in on the short end of the stick, but the field was a mess.
Temporary lights, right?
Brought in the temporary lights to meet the ESPN mandate to be able to broadcast the game, and the crowd was absolutely standing room only. Probably the best atmosphere I'd ever seen. They'd never had a night game at Zabel Stadium.
So awesome.
It was probably crazier than when Jimmy Buffett played there in the early 90s. He played a couple of shows. Yeah. Did you go to those, by the way?
No, the students were lined up halfway across campus trying to get into the place.
Look how thick that crowd is.
It was unbelievable. It was a tremendous atmosphere up there. It was a lot of things involved in that game, but
it set the stage for permanent lights. Yeah. At the stadium, which I guess the administration figured this is a good thing. And you said you got a new field out of it too, because it was a tough game. Look at that crowd.
Wow. Crazy. Wow.
Yeah. Everybody was giving me saying, the alumni were saying, boy, it's a great facility improvement that we're getting lights now. And I said, well, that puts us on par with about 95% of the high schools in the country.
Hey, Wrigley Field didn't get lights until 1988. So
that's crazy too.
So, but that was kind of the mindset at our place was, whoa, wow, we're getting lights now. So, but no, that was a pretty cool experience there. And I don't know, you wouldn't remember the one area. We didn't have much press area at the place either.
No, right? Not then.
And I think some of the larger press people had a hard time getting up and getting in and whatever. And
we were used to it,
Yeah,
it was cool.
That's great.
Did you ever go to a Jimmy Buffett show at Cary Field, Zabel Stadium?
No, I wouldn't do that. I didn't want to see somebody else on our field.
That's great. That's great. Well, that's a big production. Would that be William & Mary's first ESPN game? I'd imagine. Maybe.
Oh yeah. I mean, it was televised. It was all over the country.
Yeah, it was prime time.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
it was
What year was that again?
2004.
2004.
Oh, 2004. Was that late?
And
wow.
Madison did win the national championship that year,
Yeah.
but that is worth mentioning.
They had a big, strong team, and we were a fast team. We were quick, but we make excuses, but they were able to plow through the mud and stuff like that a lot better than our guys were, and we just couldn't do it. We didn't do real well,
Right.
and they got us, and that was it. But well, we had a good team that year.
Yeah. Let's take a quick break here. And then when we get back on the other side, let's talk about some of your alumni, Coach. We want to get extensively into some of these huge names that have passed through your program that you've mentored over the years. We'll be right back with Jimmye Laycock on Sportswrap Overtime, this special edition. All right, we're back on this special edition of Sportswrap Overtime with special guest Jimmye Laycock, longtime head coach of the William & Mary football team. 39 years, tons of success, and we just brought up some video from the 2004 James Madison game and all the good times with that. Brian, you got another game.
Yeah, 2009 made it to the Final Four of the FCS tournament as well. Lost to Andy Talley and Villanova, I think twice that year, but we'll get to that in a second. So a great game, 2015. That might have been the last time William & Mary beat James Madison, but that was a 44-41 game, and this started in the daylight, but it ended under the lights. This was a phenomenal football game. What do you remember about this one, Coach? This was quite the game. DeAndre Houston Carson had a big play in this game.
Yeah, I think what did he block it the kick and then ran it, or did he
had a big pick or something, and it's Abdul Sabor, I believe.
There's
here.
Sabor, there's Sabor, and I know we played really, really well. I don't know if I looked at the video, I'd probably all this stuff would come back to me, but yeah, we were excited about getting that one. That's for sure. That was I think that was on. It was on Halloween, I think.
Yeah, the crowd was juiced.
Yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, R.J. Archer's our quarterback, and he had a great career for us. He ended up playing some pro ball and all that too. So, but yeah.
Love that.
I feel like Villanova was kind of a rival. You and Andy Talley had a thing going, a little rivalry. Would you say that's fair?
I don't think it was so much he and I think it was the schools. I mean, we'd play each other every year, and we had some really good games back and forth. We'd get them, they'd get us sometimes, and and that one you're talking about the national semifinals that we had to play up there on a Friday night, and it was that was tough. It was right in the middle finals for us, and we had to go up there. But that may have been the coldest game that I've been involved in.
You look mad at him right here.
I don't want to get into that. I didn't agree with what they were doing with one of their players. And the player was got reprimanded.
But look, you love that you're cool with the quarterback.
Oh yeah, he was a good player.
Was that CJ Brown? Was that his name?
What was his name? I don't remember.
He was really good. He was a really good quarterback, though.
Yeah.
No, they had a defensive player who was out of control. So.
Oh, okay. Yep.
Coach, let's get into some of these names that you've kind of come up over your tutelage over the years and end up having great careers. I mean, we've known them because they've all been in the news recently, just in 2026 here. Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott, Joe Brady, three huge names that are obviously had extensive careers in the NFL. Let's just kind of go through each one here a little bit. Mike Tomlin, wide receiver for you back in the day. You remember recruiting him out of Newport News there. I mean, talk to about his personality and maybe what you saw in him as a young man.
Well, Mike is a skinny little receiver that came in here and competed. And, the thing is you think about Mike, he was a good player. He was a good receiver, but he was always, I know you'll find this hard to believe, but he was always upbeat at practice every day. He just loved it. He enjoyed it. He was upbeat. He joked around. He kidded around. He had a good time at football, and he was a very outgoing, a very well-rounded young man. Had great family life, and he just kind of a guy. And he was a natural leader. He was one of our captains, and the younger guys, as he got older, they all really looked up to Mike and really asked him for guidance on certain things. I remember that specifically. But yeah, and he was playing. He was a receiver. We had Sean Knight was our quarterback, and those two, that was a pretty strong combination right there between Sean throwing to Mike. they were good. They had a great career. And I told Mike too. I said he made a catch up against University of Massachusetts one day that I told him was the greatest catch I've ever been part of, ever seen. And then until his Super Bowl win and one of his receivers,
Santonio Holmes. Santonio Holmes.
I said,
yeah,
I said that rivaled it, and Mike said, "Well, the stage was a little bit different for that."
A little different, yeah. I mean, and then 19 years as a Steelers head coach. Can you even speak to how proud you were of him and what he did in Pittsburgh?
I'm so proud. I mean, I couldn't even begin to say that how proud I was of what he had done, and I know he'll do well now. I'm not sure what direction he'll go in and all, but you know, while he was going through his coaching journey. And before he would take another job or he'd be considering another job, a lot of times he would call me. And my first thing I would say to Mike, I said, Mike, are you still enjoying it? Are you still enjoying it? He said, Coach, I love it. Coach, I love it. That was the first words out of his mouth every time. And that was the way he was. He just really enjoyed even he looked at the bad times as a challenge. He didn't, shy away from it. I was kind of surprised he went into coaching because he was so well-rounded. He could have done a lot of things. And I was concerned early on that he realized how much work went into coaching. It wasn't all just fun and games and stuff, but I think he's proven the fact that he could handle it pretty well.
Yeah. Do you think he's going to come back to the coaching game, or do you think this might be it? Know. Does he go to the front office? And I could see him leading the team, from the top.
Yeah. I could see him do whatever he wanted to do. Right. I can. Mike is that talented an individual.
Yeah.
And he has a way to being able to interact with all kinds of people at all different levels.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Obviously,
he'll be successful. He'll do whatever he wants to do. I'm hoping he gets to take some time for him and his family and do what he wants to do.
Came back in the offseason to Hampton Roads for many years and did his football camp and Hampton Roads Youth Foundation, all that. So at the same time, you had, I think they crossed paths for a couple of years. Him and Sean McDermott were on your team for at least a year or two. I don't know about all four, but
a couple of years.
Yeah, Sean McDermott under your two. What did you see in him? Give us a few words on McDermott. And
Sean was, he came as a walk-on.
Okay.
And give you some idea of him. When we recognized that he had gotten to a point where he had earned a scholarship, he came into my office and I told him that he had earned a scholarship, and he was so moved by that he was crying right on the chair in my office. Mm-hmm. It just meant so much to him, and that was a pretty good of a insight on the type of guy he was and he is, and how much doing well in football meant to him. He was as a player, he was like a coach out there in the secondary. He ran the show. He knew everything, what everybody was supposed to be doing. You could always count on him. And that's why when he finished playing, I got him to stay on with us in a GA type of role.
Mm-hmm.
Because I said, that guy's ready to coach. He can do it.
Mm-hmm.
And he stayed here for a year, and then he went up with Andy Reid, got on in a situation up there. And I knew he would be successful. It wasn't any question about it. And he knew what coaching was all about, and he really wanted to do it. And now, roll it forward to present day, he will bounce back from this. He did a great job at Buffalo. I don't know what people were thinking, but he did a great job up there. And for one reason or other, they made the change. But Sean he'll be fine. I anticipate him coming back and coaching again.
Next hiring cycle, he'll definitely be hired by someone.
Coach, what's that feeling like when you give the player the walk-on that has earned that scholarship, and you have that talk with them and you let them know that they've earned that full ride? What's that feeling like?
Well, it's a very good feeling, and that you're able to do it. The issue was you're not able to do it for as many as you want to do it for. And therefore, I would try to, I know nowadays they do all the big hoopla about it and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
I guess I'm a little old school. I kind of control it down a little bit because I want to take into consideration the people who are not getting it too. Mm-hmm. And I've got to consider their feelings when we do it. But for us, it was a long, drawn-out process of discussions, and we were very sure about what we wanted to do. If we had some scholarships again, and we would always every year hold back anywhere between 3 and 5 scholarships and not give them out initially and save them specifically for players on our team and tell players that there will be scholarships available. How many? It'll be somewhere between 3 and 5, maybe 6 that will be available, and we're going to evaluate everybody and make that decision. And decisions were hard. I would have rather not had to do that, but hey, it helped us become a good football team, and also to me, it kind of enhanced the core of our team, of our players, in that you've got a core of people. After 4 years, you've got 16, 20 players who came in there as non-scholarship players who have earned them. Well, that sends in a pretty good message to your team about your work ethic and what's important too. And then I used to get a kick out of people seeing some of our seniors and said, "Man, how did you recruit that guy? How did you get him?" I said, "Well, hey, he was a walk-on. He came in here. Lane Campbell, he was a quarterback. He was National Player of the Year. He came in here without a scholarship."
Wow.
It was a big integral part of our program. And back to Sean, and Sean typified that he was that type of player.
Yeah, that's I love that. I love the withholding the 3 to 5 scholarships per year, knowing you're going to give a couple of those walk-ons. As a former walk-on myself, that's awesome. That's very cool to hear. Different time.
Well, see, some people would give them. Well, if we have one to come available.
Yeah.
But no, okay, that's one way of looking at it. But I'm saying we're going to have them.
Yeah.
We're going to have some.
Right.
And then how many get them and whatever. But
yeah.
Anyway.
Well, the new coach, going from Sean McDermott, the old coach of the Bills, to the new coach of the Bills, is someone that also came through William & Mary. So small, coincidental world. Joe Brady transferred in from Air Force. I think he started at Air Force and then got to your program in 08 or 09 as a wide receiver. Didn't record too many stats or anything by any means in his college career, but obviously took off running when he hit the coaching world. What was it like to having Joe Brady all those years ago? What was he like?
Well, Joe, he was a receiver and wasn't all that fast, but he was solid. We'd put him in there for a block every now and then for blocking. But the thing about Joe, he understood that. He understood that, he wasn't as physically gifted as maybe some others, but mentally he was probably head and shoulders above everybody else in the receiver room. He knew what everybody was supposed to do, and he would help the other guys, even though they were going to be playing ahead of him. He was going to be sure they knew what they were supposed to do, what their routes were, what their reads were. So Joe not only was a player, but he was almost a player coach at that point, because I remember many times at practice, players would turn to Joe, "What do I got here? What do I have here?" And he'd tell them, and all that. So, and he made it very clear that he was interested in going into coaching. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. At his introductory press conference, he mentioned you, Coach, and
they all do.
Said,
they all bring you up, Coach.
He mentioned he basically called you a mentor and appreciated what you did for him all those years ago.
And while we have time, I want to talk about your longtime athletic director that is going to be going into the Virginia Sports Hall of Fame. That is Terry Driscoll, who was there forever, former NBA player, by the way.
Yeah.
A lot of great things happened under his watch. What can you say about your relationship with Terry and what he did to the college?
Well, one thing about Terry that I always appreciated too, that he was going to tell you the truth. He wasn't going to be phony with you. He was going to give it to you the way it was and what we can do. If we can't do something, he would tell it. And then, then maybe we'd go about try to find another way to get it done. But he was very honest about that, and he was always supportive. I mean, I think, in ADs nowadays, they can get pulled in a lot of directions, and people tell them, "Hey, complain about this, complain about that." No, I never had to worry about anything that Terry would do or not do behind my back or anything like that. I trusted him wholeheartedly, and he always had the interest of William Murray in his mind, and he helped us. We were able to build the football center. We were able to enlarge the stadium, do the stadium enhancement, and a lot of things around there that really have made a big difference in the football program.
Look how beautiful that is. That stadium renovation, They knocked it out of the park. It looks gorgeous.
Press box is great.
Press box is fantastic. A little more room. And the football center, the football center that bears your name on it. I mean, you talk about not even having cones and having to steal cones off the interstate to run your practices, to having a beautiful stadium like this and a beautiful football center and the lights and the field. Man, I mean, how proud of you to kind of see where it came from and to where it is now.
Well, I'm very proud. I'm very proud. I'm very happy for William and Mary. I'm very happy for them nowadays that people can have that, and I can appreciate it. I mean, I go back to the old days and what we did and what we didn't have and things that they have now, and it's great. It's great that we've moved forward like we have and have what we're doing. And then they're going to open up a new facility over there at Kaplan Arena for the basketball and the other sports too, I think pretty soon. And that's going to be a nice enhancement too. So, times have changed. Times have changed.
Nice.
It's a long way from going out to Eastern State and practicing out there.
At the mental institution. A little bit. So your thoughts, William & Mary's leaving the CAA football division, that side of it, and all other sports will stay in the CAA, but the CAA football is kind of something different. Going to the Patriot League with teams like Colgate, I think that would be like Lehigh, Lafayette, Villanova, Richmond, more importantly, are going to be in it. What are your thoughts on going to that league?
I think it's a good move for William & Mary. I think you're going to be dealing with more schools that are similar to William & Mary, even though they're private schools, but they're similar because of the academic requirements and this type of thing. And I think I think it'll evolve into a very, very good FCS league. And I was all for it. I was supporting it all the way, and I had talked to Brian Mann several times prior to it happening, and we discussed a lot of different things. And I think it's a good move for William & Mary.
Yeah, it's coming up in 2026.
Yeah,
we'll give you a second, Coach. Next season, right? 2026.
Yeah. It's very important that Richmond is in it.
Yes.
Villanova, I think that's very important.
Yeah, I did.
William & Mary and Richmond go in next year. Richmond's already in.
Yeah. I went to a few years ago. Richmond came to Williamsburg and beat William & Mary for the CAA title that game. I think I did that one, and there was a great atmosphere. So we got a few more minutes left, Coach. Getting back into the coaching tree, sort of honorable mention here. You've had multiple NFL head coaches come through your program.
Well, I think I'm even more impressed with the Kevin Rogers and the Ralph Friedgens and the Danny Smiths of the world. Like they're part of the Laycock coaching tree too. Ralph Friedgen.
Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, these are big names. I just think it's noteworthy. Like, for you to have Mike Tomlin, Sean McDermott, Joe Brady came through your program, Brian Daboll came through your program, Dan Quinn came through your program when nobody knew who these guys were, Coach. Like, give us a couple. We got about 5 minutes. Give us a quick couple words on Daboll and Dan Quinn and what you remember.
These are the guys that came in and they basically were getting paid nothing. They got their start there with it, and I'm not so sure exactly if they fell into this category, but we'd have those guys living in the stadium. And I couldn't tell anybody about it because that would be, that was going to be a problem on campus. So we kind of hit them out into the stadium and gave them a place to sleep in there. But that's what Daboll did. And that's what Danny Quinn did. And those guys, it's funny. I could see those guys when they started. I mean, like Daboll just showed up. He just came in. And
got here somehow. He got there somehow.
He was a really good coach for me for 1 year. Then Nick Saban called me and offered him a GA thing at Michigan State. So
unbelievable.
He went out there and Dan, one of our coaches, knew Dan from Salisbury and brought him in there. And gosh, you could just tell some of these guys were going to be really good coaches, And I used to tell those young guys, I said, okay, you want to know something? If you're getting too much work handed to you, take that as a good sign. If you're not getting enough work, you better start looking for another job because you're not going to last long, because I'm only giving stuff to people that I feel like can do it. And those guys were ones that could really, really do it.
I just think that the tree is just crazy.
It seems like
five guys to come through.
It just seems like there was a point in time where these bigger programs, like the Michigan States, like the Alabamas, like wherever, were looking at William & Mary for possibly the next coach, the next big coach.
Well, yeah, I lost over the years. I lost a lot of good coaches. Yeah, that's that happens, but that's part of the profession. That's part of the job, and stuff like that. You never want to, you kind of, you get them and you develop them, and they go on. And just when, it's just like when they're ready to really bloom, somebody hires them somewhere else. But but that was good. And I think it's I think I look at it as a good evaluation or reflection on their program, that the type of program that we ran, the way we did things, had to help these guys and had to prepare them for the other jobs that they ended up taking.
Hey, Jimmye, is there a golf foursome that you have had with 3 other people that if you told them, they wouldn't believe those people were in your group, like a famous group of people in a golf foursome?
A famous group? I don't know. I played a lot of golf with Lanny Watkins, and we played together a lot. I used to play with Curtis when he was here in town.
Yeah.
I used to do that with him. But so far as a foursome, I don't know if I can hit one that would really blow you out. I mean, I've been fortunate to play a lot of. I tell you what would blow some people out. Some of the courses that I've played over the course of time. Now, that if anybody's following golf, I mean, I've gone to Augusta National. Probably played 75 rounds at Augusta National.
Oh my God!
All right. So if you want to start at the top, go there, or you want to start at the bottom.
Is it true? Tee to green, it's not as crazy as you would think, but once you get on those greens, it's like, okay, this is insane.
Yeah, it's a whole different ball game when you're talking about the green complexes. And
Love that. Love that. Yes, Brian probably brought up golf too, because you've been retired for a few years. We got a couple more minutes, Coach. How is retirement treating you? Is that mostly how you spend your time golfing? You do any consulting for any coaches? What are you up to nowadays?
I did some things initially when I finished. I did some charity thing for the first 3 or 4 years. I had a really nice charity golf tournament up here that we raised a lot of money for different causes, and did a lot. I did a number of things, but it took me a while to get used to being retired, and then. Once I got used to it, I'm good, and now I'm good. I play golf. I got a lot of good friends here in Williamsburg. I learned I'm like one of the old men that meet for coffee and solve all the world's problems. I kind of fall into that category, I guess, sometimes. But and then I got 4 kids, and they're spread out across the country, and I got 5 granddaughters, and I try to stay in touch with all of them and see them as much as we can. And then I've got one of my daughters is getting married this summer, so that'll be a big thing. So a lot of family type of things probably now more than anything.
Yeah.
Who you got in the Super Bowl? Seahawks, Patriots. You have a pick?
I really don't have a pick. I really don't have I don't care one way or the other. It's kind of funny. That's one of the things I never did a whole lot of in coaching. Follow pro football that closely, but then once I retired, and with Mike and Sean going back and forth with each other, I mean, that really got me involved. And now I don't have to worry about that. But I hated that. I hated to watch those games when they played each other. I mean, I went up there one time, for the thing. But no, I enjoy watching. I really enjoy watching football now, and I still can't help thinking, what would I be doing?
I guess
I get mad about poor time management and things like that.
Yeah, back in the day, you were doing Sunday film breakdowns. You didn't have time to watch NFL games.
That's what I'm saying. I never
even got into it.
It's like well, I told him. I said after I retired and told the guy, I said they told me to meet him over at this place Sunday afternoon and watch football. And I came over there to this local restaurant bar, and I said, guys, this is something I've never done. They said, what? I watch football on Sunday at a establishment bar here.
Yeah.
I said, I've never done that before.
It makes sense. Spent 39 years coaching and more beyond that. So, hey, Coach, that's all the time we got. Thank you so much for your time, and thanks for getting back to me. We appreciate you so much for joining us here on Sportswrap Overtime. We'll do it again maybe sometime soon.
All right, my pleasure. You guys take care. Thank you.
Jimmye Laycock,
thank you, Coach.
Virginia Sports Hall of Famer. Thanks, Coach.
All right.
There it is.